Hey guys, StockCow here from StockAviator.com. It's been a while since we made a movie, so I'm just going to go over some of the stocks that we're watching today. So one of the sectors that I'm watching right now is oil. As the price of oil is driven down, obviously the stock's going to reflect that. What I want to see though are some bounces or maybe some stabilization in the market and find a bottom and catch that bottom and catch these bounces like this one right here off $17 mark. You could have took a nice bounce up to about 1850. So that's the plays that we want to see, something like that. Hoping for something bigger though. Had nice volume a couple days ago. Then obviously a high volume red candle day. So right now the daily chart's not looking so hot for USO, but if you switch over to the 5-minute chart or the 15-minute chart, it's a little bit more interesting. So this is the past few days on a 5-minute chart. Obviously what you can see here is higher lows, a nice spike, and then a little bit lower, but it's still a higher low. So obviously what we want to see is a continuation of higher lows and a continuation of testing these resistance levels up here, and then eventually a nice little breakout. But don't get too carried away with this setup yet. As we've seen on the daily chart, it's still very bearish until we see a confirmation of a reversal pattern in the daily chart or a nice setup on these 5-minute charts. I would just sit tight and keep your eyes open for plays. So the other big oil indicator that I'm looking at is RUSL. And as you can see, got a couple patterns here. You got a nice base here. You got resistance here. So you got a channel there. You got another resistance level here. You got another support level down here and down here. So multiple supports, multiple resistances. This could get a little tricky because of the multiple setups, but what we like to see is the higher lows into the resistance levels and create these wedge patterns. They're super easy to play, very predictable. As you can see, it's almost like a flag pattern because the volume's tapering down. So we could see some volume taper down and then of course a ramp back up, and that would basically tell us that this pattern right here is a confirmation, and this is kind of like a pennant pattern. And so if this breaks out topside and we see a volume spike afterwards, look for this to carry over into a 1, 2, or 3 day run, a nice little swing trade setup. But you don't have to buy RUSL. There are other stocks that'll sympathize off of RUSL, and those are the ones that a lot of swing traders and traders like myself will probably play just because of the sympathy play. So here's one that I was talking about. This will be a sympathy play. This is GDP. As you can see, the daily chart on this one's not very pretty right now. We got this downtrend going. You can see the EMAs are following the trend. What I'd like to see though is this form a base right around here. Obviously this was supposed to be a support level, and now it's going to be resistance. So if we can travel back up through this resistance level and this becomes support, we can actually break out of this downtrend and begin climbing back up into these longer term moving averages, and that would set up for a nice swing trade once again. But in order for that to happen, RUSL and USO are going to have to gain some momentum as well. Otherwise these smaller oil stocks are probably going to struggle and continue downward, and hopefully we'll see some bounces on the way down and we can play those, but what I'd really like to see is these swing trade setups work out. So the other chart I was watching was SRNE. I had missed this setup right here, which was a little bit of a flag and then a huge spike up, and you would think that with all that volume we'd see some continuation, but obviously it's overextended. It gapped up and then it just crashed. But what we are seeing now is a huge bounce. So what we're going to look for is something on the shorter term chart, is this bounce. And now I almost bought this stock here at 950, but I was watching the level 2s and I was getting ready to head out for lunch, and I should have just bought the stock and set a solid stop on it, because as you can see, as we crossed over this VWAP, this yellow line, it just continued to slowly push higher. So even on a shorter term chart, now what we're seeing is that this is stabilizing over the VWAP. It's going to create a little bit of support here off these highs and hopefully continue to bounce tomorrow. Now, if this goes red, I would sell instantly. So with the weakness in the market, we're going to look at TVIX. This was a chat room alert several days ago. We've been swing trading this one. So I just want to basically analyze this trade and see where it's headed. So I'm going to go ahead and say resistance is right around here at 360. Then we'll say right in this range, 375, 380. And then of course, you got your big ones up here around $4. So you got a whole number of resistance, quite a few resistance levels in this chart. But what we're looking at here is in the after hours, we're already starting to push up higher through these levels. So here's the 1 minute chart. My resistance levels transferred over. The after hours started right around here, kind of took a little bounce back down, and then right up through 360, which was one of the resistance levels, right out through that, right up to 373, tested it, bounced off, and now we're up 375, 376 in the after hours. So back on the daily chart, we already know we're past this level. We're right around 374, 375, so now we just have to worry about these levels here. So where's this chart going? It's hard to say for sure. I would say at least it tests 380. If we can break out over 380, this should become a $4 magnet. What to look for tomorrow? On the 15-minute chart, 5-minute chart, whatever chart you like to use, I would say a potential red to green move off of the after hours. It's a little extended, so if it comes back down to 365, 363, our support level, tests it and goes red to green, that would be an ideal setup for me. If not, the other setup I'd be looking for would be a nice little flag play off of a resistance level, whether it be 380, 375, or right here 376 where the top of this candle wick is. A little flag play and then a spike out of it. And well, that's basically it for TVIX. If you want to receive nightly watch list, premium stock picks, stock alerts, and exchange trade ideas in our live chat room, sign up at the link below and receive a 2-week trial and a discounted rate on your first month.